Well, we did a show at about 7 o'clock at Spleen, and then we're doing one that's about to kick off at about 8:30. There's nobody, none of the performers have shown up yet, so we're just waiting. They'll be here, and then I go and do my show at 9:30 on Easter Monday. So, and there are people coming, which I'm eternally grateful for, by the fact that they've had a 4-day weekend and they're still coming to a 9:30 show, so that's very kind of them. That's a good question. I think I've about 8 or 9 or so. Yeah, I'd have to go through my head very quickly. And there's a couple with like other people or like combined shows and stuff like that. So maybe solo shows, maybe 7 or 8 or so. I say long enough that I should be funnier. I should be better at it. So yeah, so I don't even want to say the words out loud. There's a bit in my show where I say, I won't say how old I am, but this is how old I am. So I don't want to say the word that starts with the letter F, that is my age. I do this full time. There's a bit in my show I talk about how probably for the last 10 or so years I've earned the bulk of my income writing for TV. So a whole bunch of different shows over the journey. And so that would be where I make the bulk of my income, yeah. Over the journey I'll tell you a joke in my show. I don't know if this is breaking an NDA, but I've got to write for John Cleese over the journey. I recently got to write for Jane Krakowski she played the role of Jenna on 30 Rock. And yeah, she should have written for Bella, the road debuts, yeah. I reckon it would be up to the 30 or 40 people I've written for, yeah. And the bulk of it would be for writing, yeah. So I think in about a week I started a job at the ABC for about 10 weeks, and then that crosses over into another job for another network for about 6 weeks or so, yeah. I describe it as, I often joke that it's me shouting swear words at strangers, but for this particular hour I think it's a little bit different, but just by the fact I don't have the heartbreaking stories of, other comics. Like I kept on saying to my parents, like, why don't you hit me more? Like, just why weren't you a drunk or something? But I in this particular hour, I think it's actually the best hour I've done. I quite particularly enjoy doing it. And there's just a few tales really, but yeah, describing the style, that's one I don't quite know, because it can also depend on your life at the time, like what story do you have to tell, one day you could be just like, hey, what about cheese? And then the next day you could be like, hey, my dad, got hit by a car, and so I think that can kind of, no, I actually don't really want people to walk out and just have a good time, have a good time, yeah. Okay. And they will be stories that are individual to me, there are stories in this particular show that happened to me and couldn't have happened to other people, that you kind of just take them and turn into something, yeah. I try to be honest and also, but primarily laughter first, foremost, yeah, without being too goofy. Like, I'm not going to be like, anyway, I got told off by the cops for having my dick out and then I got off the tram. It's like, no, and stuff that's true as well. That's a good question actually, because it's obviously different for different people. Sorry, there's Ivan over there, he's going to come down and see the show. I'll be right there, man. Yeah, kick off and I'll come on down, yeah. It's different for different people, so by the fact, I'm in a venue that's not a festival venue, so I'm just in an Imperial Hotel over there, so the cost's pretty low there. The thing about the COVID experience that we've all gone through, and I mean that, bigger companies and the like, they'd kind of be putting up a poster or a picture on a tram going, we're going to get to do the show. So I think everyone's a bit concerned this year about, expenses and the like. I mean, you would have seen it, like, I was in Melbourne in, maybe August last year, and there were still posters of shows that were meant to happen in the festival last year that never happened. So I think this year's like a little bit more low-key, also just by the feel like, a case or two, and we could all get shut down very quickly. But there are heaps of people coming out and about and stuff like that. I think one of the things this year is maybe a little bit different is by the fact that there just aren't the people working in the CBD, so it's not like, we finish work, have dinner, see their show. I talked to a friend of a friend the other day, and she works in an office with 300 people, and like 3 people were in the office. In my dad's office, they have about 110 people, and like 5 of them are there. So the CBD kind of, needs. I just feel awful for the cafes and the restaurants and the like who rely on that coffee money, that lunch money, who just shut, because they couldn't keep it afloat. No, it's good. Like, it's obviously come back. Like, I live in Sydney, so I did come back to Melbourne for a bit of work. By the fact that I was like, I want to earn some money in 2020, and I wanted to see my family. And so I came back and I worked on a job for about a month, and then got caught up in a close contact, and so I had to do 2 weeks of hotel ISO, which was all fine. I did my taxes for 2 years. I read a book, had my birthday, watched my football team lose on my birthday, and in Sydney, it's obviously was a bit different. So I had I had a bit of a Melbourne experience, but I didn't have the full, I didn't have the PTS that some people might have.
Right.
So I think about October last year, I felt confident enough to be around crowds and to not wear tracksuit pants. So it's been kicking off for a while up there, and seems pretty normal here as well. That's actually a good point. Actually, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about writing people, and you very much stick in your lane. Like, it's a bit weird for someone to kind of go from a dramatic piece to starting writing a farce, So I think comedy is just the thing that you kind of are born with it. That sounds like an absolute wanker thing to say, sorry. But I remember like writing stuff in high school that was meant to be dramatic, English essay or something, and people would laugh at it. So I remember doing the school debates or whatever, and I'd write down a note that I thought was a serious note and give it to the next debater, and they'd laugh at it. I'm like, okay, so maybe I'm not meant to be good at serious things. Oh, I love it. Yeah. I mean, I do a few bits on this show about it, but also the line has obviously changed over decades and decades. And you look back at stuff from, 70s, 60s, 80s, and you go, yeah, that wouldn't fly, but that's okay. Like, we're all fine. No one's gonna have a problem. And are you really that keen to be racist and sexist and homophobic and transphobic? Like, are you really that keen? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure there are shows that my mum and dad would watch when they were younger, and they'd put it on for us now and be like, what, you watch this? Like, huh? So it just kind of, it's a floatable thing. And so if you're getting angry about, I can't say this anymore, it's like, maybe try and work out something else to say, I've no desire to stand on stage and offend anyone or abuse anyone. I mean, I've actually, in moments, I think a lot of comics do. There have been times I know that I've just said something off the cuff that I go, like, I can't believe I said that out loud, and it's just, something that kind of just spews out of your mouth, and instantly get the chills down the back and you're like, oh my god, I just said that out loud, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And if I ever say anything ridiculous, I am the first one to apologise and go, I shouldn't have said that. Oh god, no. God, no. I mean, having said that, I could not. I have had partners in the life that the idea of just, I couldn't even be bothered to think about anything about touching a lady right now. I just have no desire. I'm too old, man. And obviously, there's the performer thing of, the tech, rock stars and shit like that, and obviously there are kind of hot comics who kind of do things, but I couldn't think of anything else. Comedy God. That's actually quite an interesting question, actually, just by the fact that there is really an interesting thing by the fact that one day you could walk off the stage on a Friday night and go, oh, it's hilarious. And then you can walk off and do the same material the next night and go, I want to kill myself right now. Yeah, like I had a night like that last night. Like I had an hour of silence. And then hopefully tonight will be better. But if there is a comedy god, he or she is ruthless. What I say near the end of my show is to encourage people to go and see an Australian act in a room with 30 people and just say, hey, go and check them out because they're going to be awesome. I'll tell you, I reckon the first thing I actually did in media was a spot on the Could Have Been Champions on the ABC. So they had a thing called the Cub Reporter. So I think I was about 12 and they get someone to report on a sports event or something like that. And so I went in and did about 15 minutes just kind of reading it up, reporting on WrestleMania 6. So I think that would have been the first media thing I did.